Stay tuned as we take another look at this Marvel Legends Captain Britain, but this time we will ask the question, who is he? Hello and welcome back to the channel, Dan Who Reviews. As always, my name is Dan W. Make sure you are following me on Instagram at It's Dan Who. And remember, you can now hit that join button and become a channel member as well. Quite simply show some love or join the members club. Much appreciated. Today we are going to take another look at this brand new Marvel Legends Captain Britain. As last time I looked at this, we had no idea how he was going to get released. But thanks to the Marvel recent Fan First Thursday, we know exactly how this figure is going to get released. It is in a free pack. No, not an Excalibur box set like we all thought and wanted, but we do get an Excalibur themed X-Men set, very similar to that love triangle set that we got last year with Jean Grey, Cyclops and Wolverine. This time we get Brian Braddock, Captain Britain, his wife Megan, and also Kitty Pryde in that blue puffer-sleeved Excalibur look that people have been wanting for a long time. We even get a couple of accessories like the Sword of Might and of course Lockheed. So very excited to get that free pack. Of course, I have the prototype for Captain Britain that I'm going to have to send back to Marvel, but of course I'm going to make sure I get myself a couple of those free packs. But I thought today we would do a deep dive into Captain Britain, the actual character, and I'm also going to do some more comparisons for this figure itself, as there was a lot of comparison questions, as this is on the Odinson Thor body. When I first looked at this guy, I couldn't quite pinpoint what the body was, but I knew it was reuse, of course, because we've got the pins on the arms and the elbows, and the back is a slightly modified Sentry body, but it is nice and big and chunky, definitely more imposing than the previous Captain Britain figure. And as I've said before, this isn't his first look. This isn't how Captain Britain debuted in the comic. This is his sort of second design, if you will, the Alan Davis run, and I will explain all of that as best as I can. But first, I thought it would be very fun to bring back the Who Is He segment and ask the question, Brian Braddock, aka Captain Britain, who is he? This is the part of the video where we ask the question, who is he? And I try and give you a little bit of information about the character this figure is inspired by. So, Captain Britain, who is he? Brian Braddock first appeared in Marvel UK's Captain Britain #1 in October of 1976. Born to a family of aristocrats, Brian was born and raised in Essex. While the family lost their wealth and social standing, Brian excelled at school and after graduating was employed by the Dartmoor nuclear research plant. It was here an attack by the supervillain the Reaver caused Brian to flee and crash his motorcycle while trying to find help, causing Merlin and Roma to appear to give Brian the chance to become the Defender of Britain. They offered him the choice of the Amulet of Right or the Sword of Might. Brian chose the Amulet, which transformed him into Captain Britain. This new Marvel Legends Captain Britain figure is based on arguably his most iconic and recognisable costume from his 1981 relaunch, redesigned by the iconic penciler Alan Davis. The new Captain Britain debuted in Marvel Superheroes 377. This is the Alan Davis series that went on to greatly expand the concepts of the Outer World and the Captain Britain Corps, a legion of Captain Britons from various multiverses. So there you go, I hope that helps. Again, I do not claim to be an expert, but it is nice to have a little bit of information about the characters these figures are inspired by. And as you can see there in the Who Is He segment, this wasn't the first appearance look for Brian Braddock. His first uniform was more of a red jumpsuit with a gold crested lion on the chest, which I really like. Don't think we've had in Marvel Legends form, definitely not in the Hasbro era. Would love to add that to the collection one day. But for me, the most iconic, my personal favourite look for Captain Britain, my mind's eye of Brian Braddock is what we see right here in plastic. So I am very happy to have this. A few people in my previous video was like, this isn't his first look, this isn't the most iconic. That is all up for debate, and that's what's so fun about collecting. Everyone can have their own favourites and have their own displays, etc. So yeah, just for me personally, this is my favourite look for Captain Britain. I personally think this is his most iconic look. So if you agree with me, great. If you don't, that's absolutely fine as well. But I do want to take one more sort of look at this figure. in general before I have to pack him back up and ship him back to Hasbro HQ, especially now we've got a little bit more information about where he's coming from. We'll do a few more comparisons. I'll show you what members of Excalibur we already have as well. So let's do that right now. So first comparison, let's take a look at Captain Britain compared to Odin's son, aka Unworthy Thor, as this solves the mystery of where the reuse for this body mold comes from. I couldn't quite pinpoint it on my previous video, and a lot of people were quick to tell me exactly where it comes from, and it's this guy. So it may not be able to show this off well black on black, but you'll get the gist. So the back of the body, there you go. Same back torso pieces. So again, I knew it was familiar. I knew there was reuse. I just couldn't quite pinpoint it. But there we have it. It is a modified Sentry body. It's quite buff, quite thick, broad. So no complaints from me there. So if I stand them both up, you'll see they're both quite imposing on the shelf. So that is where we're getting our reuse. Definitely from the upper torso. There's probably more reuse there as well, the legs and stuff. But the boots are different. Obviously, Captain Britain's wearing gloves, different heads, all of that. But yeah, definitely reuse. And as I said, this guy isn't utilizing it, unfortunately, any of the new pinless, pin visible technology, if you will, but still, maybe that's for another release in the future. But still, for now, this looks great. So that is where we get our reuse from Unworthy Thor. So if I move him out the way, let's bring in the previous Captain Britain again. And again, just a reminder, this is from the 2016 Abomination wave. And this guy didn't come with any accessories, no interchangeable hands, no interchangeable heads. So this is how he has been on my shelf for a while. And he's been a great stand-in. I'm not going to lie, he will still have a place on the shelf, just in a different section maybe, because this guy will probably stand with Excalibur, but I'll get into that in a second. So one more time, let's stand these together, and you can see the color palette's definitely different. This guy's a lot glossier, even the blues are more metallic on this previous version, and the red's a lot darker, where he's a bit more regal over here, with the reds a bit brighter, stands out a little bit better. And as you can see, the new one is definitely taller as well, definitely thicker and broader. And I quite like that, a more imposing Captain Britain for the shelf. And as I said, this guy didn't come with any interchangeable hands or anything. This guy comes with 2 heads, 2 sets of hands, and the Sword of Might. But again, that's another conversation we can get into, and we may as well get into it right now. So here we have Brian wielding the Sword of Might, or is it Excalibur? That has been a topic of conversation, especially within the comments of my last video, as a lot of people were quick to point out, Dan, that's not the Sword of Might, that's Excalibur. Now, let me tell you, I was with you. I genuinely also thought this was Excalibur. It looks a lot like Excalibur in the comics. However, when Ryan Ting at Marvel, you know, the people that actually make these toys, say to me, Dan, that's the Sword of Might, we have the reference to prove it, I'm not going to argue with them. So again, any queries, any comments, direct them at Ryan Ting. He tells me this is the Sword of Might, and I'm not going to argue with the people who have just gave me a reveal, okay? So I'm telling you, this is the Sword of Might. However, I understand it does look a little bit like Excalibur. Even super producer Rich M was like, Dan, I think that's Excalibur. So again, that's a topic of conversation. You can have a look at comic panels yourself. But yeah, I'm being told it's the Sword of Might. But again, if you want it to be Excalibur in your display, it's your display. Of course it can be Excalibur, it's fine. But I was told this is the Sword of Might. Now, the other accessory, which I think is a great addition to this figure, is this bearded Brian Braddock head sculpt, which is very nice. Now, this first appeared in the New Avengers 25 in the Jonathan Hickman Time Runs Out storyline from 2014. Now, during that run, he also had one eye, and he was wearing an eye patch while he had the beard. But obviously, when he's got the helmet, the cowl on, you don't actually see the eye patch. But behind that cowl, he is blind in one eye during this storyline. But still, it is very accurate that he went back to wearing this classic Alan Davis look during that storyline. And yeah, so if we were going to have a completely unhelmeted head for this figure, he would have to have one eye from that storyline. So you can go do some digging yourself, but still, this is definitely a look he had in the comics, and I think it's a very nice addition for this figure. Definitely to mix up the display. If you brought a couple of these, like I might, you could have one for Excalibur and then this one for a more modernized look for this outfit. But yeah, great addition for the shelf. let's talk Excalibur, because I've said it a few times now. This is how Captain Britain looked during the initial run of Excalibur. It's also how he looked on that iconic comic cover, that Excalibur #1, where all 5 members are standing there front and center. And we are now one step closer to completing that team and getting that iconic look in plastic. So with this free pack, we know we're getting an upgraded kitty with the blue puffer sleeves. We've got Captain Britain. We've already got Nightcrawler. We are getting Megan. However, the Megan on this front cover is wearing orange. The figure we're getting, she is wearing green. Now, it must have been a flip in the coin between Hasbro in regards to what color Megan we got, because she did wear green a lot more in the comics than she did the orange, but that's how I picture her from that front cover. So I'm sure that gives room for a variant version of Megan in the future. But we're getting Megan. We've got the character represented in plastic. That's the most important thing. We are, however, missing an important character, that one that's front and center on the cover. It is, of course, the lost daughter of Cyclops in Jean Grey, Rachel Summers. We do not have her in plastic to complete Excalibur for our displays, unfortunately. I'm sure the Hasbro team are aware. They are not idiots. They must be aware that we are still missing Rachel. So I'm hoping our patience will be rewarded and we will get given a Rachel in the future, because she's definitely a character worthy of the deluxe treatment with those big phoenix wings. So I'm fingers crossed for a Rachel sooner rather than later so we can complete our Excalibur team in plastic. But for now, that's what we've got. And as I said, if you already have Kurt in your display, of course, this is exactly how Nightcrawler looked on the front cover of Excalibur. So you can add him straight away. And as a placeholder, I have Kitty Pryde here in her X-Men uniform with Lockheed still. So for now, this is what I'm working with. But of course, we can upgrade that kitty. Of course, we've already got Nightcrawler, and we can add Megan as well to this lineup. And yeah, we're one step closer, but we're missing Rachel. So Hasbro, please don't make us wait too long. Now, this one's going to be confusing for people not in the know, but would you believe it if I told you these two are actually twins? That is Betsy Braddock, the twin sister of Brian Braddock, but she's trapped inside of an Asian woman's body, aka Psylocke. Very confusing. I'm not going to get into it now, but trust me when I say these two are related, and now we have them both in plastic looking great. Now, obviously, I don't want to start a debate here, but I did want to see how Captain Britain sort of weighed up next to Captain America. So you can see that Captain Britain's definitely taller. He's a lot broader. He's a lot more imposing than Captain America in figure form, don't you think? Don't you think? Captain Britain for the win? Here we have Captain Britain compared to Spider-Man UK. And would you believe it if I told you that this guy is actually called Billy Braddock, and in his world, he is actually the Captain Britain and Spider-Man combined of that world. That's how we get Spider-Man UK. Billy Braddock, Spider-Man, and Captain Britain of his universe. Crazy, but true. Another look at Captain Britain and Union Jack, and again, Captain Britain definitely a lot more imposing and stronger and taller than Union Jack, but that's what makes them a good pairing, I think. Just to throw in a few other Marvel characters, here we have Peter Parker and Wolverine, aka Spider-Man, of course. This is the retro Spider-Man. And yeah, just to sort of give you a look of scale and how imposing Captain Britain does look compared to some of these other figures. Obviously, Wolverine's a lot shorter, but still, he's a lot taller. Definitely going to stand out amongst the display and scales nicely with these guys. And not only does Arcade look great on my black background, he also did come up against Captain Britain in the comics many times. Even Spider-Man. I think Captain Britain and Spider-Man did team up to go to Murder World and sort of take on Arcade, but that was when Captain Britain was wearing his more classic first appearance look. But still, you can still make it work. And finally, I wanted to see how Brian compared to some of these bigger characters, these builder figures, and I think he stands up pretty well. Comes up to about their shoulders, definitely still looks broad and intimidating, even amongst these two. Of course, we've got Sasquatch and Zemnu, and yeah, I think he looks good. So, final thoughts. Obviously, I'm going to be a little bit biased, but I do very much like this Marvel Legends Captain Britain figure, and I like the free pack that we're getting as well. For the first time, we're getting Megan. We're getting a nice upgraded look for Kitty Pryde for Excalibur. We've already got Kurt alert, so we just need Rachel, and I'm sure the Hasbro team are aware of that. So it's going to be sooner rather than later before we're getting Rachel and adding the full Excalibur team in plastic to our collection, to our displays. Yes, maybe an Excalibur box set would have been great, but we're nearly there. 3 out of 5 isn't bad, and I'm very happy to get this particular look, my personal favourite look for Captain Britain, in plastic, and I still think it's his most iconic look as well. But again, you let me know what you think in the comments below. Again, this character is going to have a bit more sentimental value to me than the average Joe, I'm sure, and I'm very much looking forward to getting it officially now, because I'm going to have to wrap this guy in bubble wrap and ship him back off to Hasbro HQ. So for one last time, I want to send a massive thank you out to Hasbro and to the Marvel team for letting me reveal this on the channel. Trust me when I say it's a big deal, it means a lot, really does. But if you are new here and you're a fan of Marvel Legends, then you're in the right place. Stick around and please hit that subscribe button and become a part of the community that we're building over here as well. Come and join me on a live stream and be a part of the channel that you are supporting by hitting that join button. Quite simply, show some love or join the members club. Much appreciated. You can follow me on Instagram at It's Dan Who. I'm on Twitter at Dan Who Reviews. But until then, people, my name is Dan W, and I will of course see you on the next one.